I'm Hela Mami. Today I'm going to deal with insurance. Introduction. Insurance is an arrangement or agreement that protects someone from incurring future losses as damage, thefts, illness or death, especially a contract that transfers the risk of a specific loss to another party in exchange for the payment of a premium. The sum or rate for which the contract insures is something. There are many risks in a construction project. The majority of the risks are usually assumed, not priced, by the contractor. During the construction phase, who typically covers this exposure by taking out various insurance policies. Common insurance are required for every single construction project. In many instances, it is a requirement to have some sort of specific coverage in order to be awarded, contract to be awarded. Construction insurance can have cover for material risk, natural disasters, employees, and even your own business. However, the insurance policy, along with the construction industry, is always looking to comprehend and provide the latest coverage of every single and unique situation. There are many instances that property owners or project developers will require you to get some of these in order to be qualified to participate in their bidding process. Insurance in construction contract can be complicated. Types of insurance. The most common form of insurance under a construction contract include all risk allowance. It insures against physical damage to work and usually the materials on site. All risk insurance policy typically covers the full reinstatement value of the works plus a markup for any ancillary works such as consultancy and provisional fees that are incurred. As contractors generally have global all-risk insurance policies that cover all its projects, it is generally more cost-effective for the contractors to maintain this insurance. Once taken over, the risk in the works passes to the employer, who needs to ensure that the works are adequately insured. Although defects are usually excluded from all risk insurance policies, wording can be purchased that can provide cover for damages that a defect causes or to other parts of the works. For this insurance to be meaningful, the different components of the works must be carefully and clearly delineated. This insurance is only generally available if the works are being undertaken in accordance with well-established, rather evolving construction techniques. Public liability insurance. This provides cover for liability arising over death or personal injury to third parties, but not contractor employees, or who should be covered by the workers' compensation insurance, or damage to property belonging to a third party, but not the works which is covered by the all-risk insurance prior to the works being taken over. Workers' compensation insurance. This insures the contractor against liability for the death or personal injury to any of its employees, usually on site when performing the works. Decennial liability insurance. Under Article 880 to 883 of the UAE Code of Contract and the supervising architect are jointly liable to the employer for a period of 10 years when their works are taken off for any defect that threatens the safety or the stability of the building, or if the building suffers a total or partial collapse. Decennial insurance against liability, always the contractor takes out the insurance against this liability. Similar decennial liability regimes apply in most of the Middle Eastern jurisdictions. Delay in startup insurance. Unless the contractor is entitled to relief under the contract, contractors are customarily required to pay liquidated damages to the employer if the works are not taken over by the date of completion, or depending on the nature of the works, fail to satisfy the specific output criteria. However, liquidated damages are customarily capped at 10% of the contract price. Caps of this nature may mean that the employer is not fully compensated for any loss suffered, and even though caps on delay damages can someone be set aside and damages are reassessed so that they correspond with the actual loss suffered. This can be a slow, uncertain and expensive process. For this reason, employers sometimes, especially if the works are project finance, take out DSU insurance, which provides compensation for losses, including loss of revenue and other consequent losses arising out of late completion, as well as other forms of delay, such as force majeure. Key provisions. Apart from the basic requirement to take out and maintain insurance policies, other important ancillary issues regarding the insurance include joint names. Certain insurance policies, especially public liability insurance, are generally taken out on joint names of the employer and the contractor, as well as a founder. So that, for instance, if the employee is insured against any liability incurred by reason of a breach by contractor, as a matter of fact, as a matter of good order, the co-insured party should obtain copies of the policy that they are insured, so that they know exactly what they are covered for. Generally speaking, a party named under an insurance policy can make claims under the policy, and it is also common for insurers to be inquired to waive their rights or subrogate against insured parties. This means that the insurer agrees not to seek or recover against co-insured party, that is the employer, even if the insurer gets paid out on account of actions of the employer. It is important that two or more parties are insured under the same policy. The policy provides that no act or omission of a co-insured party, that is the misinterpretation of the and non-disclosure or failure to notify, will vitiate the policy or otherwise prejudice the cover of the other co-insured and non-breaching parties under the policy. Cross liability. It is usual for contracts that are joint names contain a cross liability clause. A cross liability clause essentially means that each party is insured in its own right, as if it's a separate policy had been issued, and as such the policy will respond to liability incurred by one co-insured party to another co-insured party. Interest noted on a policy. It is important to distinguish between insurance being taken out in joint names and the party's interest being simply noted on a policy. Although a party whose name is noted on a policy has the right to share an insurance proceed, party does not have any direct rights to claim under the policy. Furthermore, the insurer generally will not waive its rights or subrogation against a party whose interest is noted on the policy. Per occurrence or in aggregate, it is important to check if the insurance cover is provided on per occurrence or on aggregate basis. For the employer, cover on a per occurrence basis is obviously advantageous, as if the insurer is provided on an aggregate basis, a previous claim could severely impact on and even completely exhaust the amount available for the insurance. This point is made all the more relevant if the insurance is not project specific, as a claim from one project could mean that no cover is available for any other project. Deductibles. Employers should carefully assess the level of deductibles under the insurance policy to ensure that the deductibles is reasonable and not prohibitively high. Excessive deductibility could lead to the risk of being effectively uninsured. Exclusions. Insurance policies are naturally subject to exclusions that may restrict the amount of available of cover. Some insurance policies exclude the cover for guarantees and liability for delay damages, while fitness for purpose warranties are also relatively common exclusion. It is therefore important for employers and contractors to review the exact cover to assess the suitability of the policy in the light of the risks that are likely to occur under the contract. Lender's interest. As part of the security package, a lender may require an assignment of the borrower's right under insurance policies and may also wish to be named as the loss payee of the insurance proceeds. Additionally, lenders may prefer to use insurance proceeds to pay off the loans instead of reinstating the project if the project is destroyed or badly damaged. If lender requires this ability, care needs to be taken to reinsure. This right is accommodated by the underlying insurance policy. Identify insurers. Employers usually impose minimum requirements regarding the creditworthiness of the insurers to reduce the risk of insurers defaulting on their payment obligation. Caps on liability. It is common misconception in the construction industry that the contractor's liability for a particular risk, especially for the breach of professional duty and negligence, is implicitly kept at the amount of the insurance that the contractor is required to have for this risk. This is not the case. For example, if the contractor is required to have professional indemnity insurance, say $5 million per claim, the contractor's liability for say defective design, it may not automatically cap at $5 million. per claim, and the employee may seek to recover from the contractor's assets or any other additional insurance policy that the contractor has in place for, say, the loss incurred that exceeds $5 million. Excess burning is required for a contractor's liability to be limited, and even when the local laws such as UAE Civil Code Article 390/2 can be evoked upon and to adjust the pre-agreed caps on the liability so that the injured party can only recover damages to compensate it for the actual loss sustained arising out of the breach. Thank you.